2 UFC events in a row. We are low-key kind of spoiled, but to be fair, this new one, this upcoming weekend, UFC 325, guys, the second on the Paramount era, it is kind of a mid-card. There's not too many good fights, but regardless, I'm from New Zealand. There's a lot of New Zealand fighters on this card, so it will be exciting. But anyway, man, let's hop in some predictions. Let's objectively analyze the MMA game, and hopefully I help you boys with your parlays. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know, I got the best MMA knowledge out there. Let's start off with some of these fights down here. The early prelims, not even the prelims. Why? Because these guys actually aren't technically in the UFC yet. Yes, that's correct. Basically, all these fights are road to the UFC fights, and as you can see, it's kind of stacked with the Oceanic fighters, man. I think, it's an Australian card. The UFC wants to push these guys in front of like the home crowds or whatever. So let's just jump right into it. The first sort of match, man. Aaron Tao and this guy. I just know he's Mongolian. I can barely pronounce that name, man. I can barely pronounce that. Namsrai Batbayar. Namsrai Batbayar. That's kind of a tough name, bro. I'm pretty sure his nickname's like the Steppe Warrior, bro. He's low-key got a lot of aura, man. But anyway, who do I think will win this fight? Low-key, this other guy, this Mongolian fella, all his fights that he's won. By the way, he's 9-1 in his overall career, some shit like that. All of his fights he's won have been by finish. And he is considerably younger than Aaron Tao. And in the bantamweight division, I feel like, the younger you are, the better you do. These divisions heavily favor athleticism and being young. I just think he's younger, he's more hungrier. Aaron Tao, he's already fumbled an opportunity to get into the UFC in the Dana White Contender Series. He got unanimous decision, and I feel like he's too willing to scrap, and sometimes he lacks a sense of urgency. From what I've seen of him, I saw that one fight on the Contender Series, but regardless, I think he is tough enough not to get knocked out or finished or subbed or whatever. He is quite a tough guy, so I do got Namsrai by decision. And yeah, on to the next one, man. Sulangrang Bao. Man, I'm butchering these names, holy, but you can't even pronounce these guys. Come on, guys. And Lawrence Louis, City Kickboxing, coming out of City Kickboxing. Lawrence is, New Zealand fella. But who do I think will win this fight? Low key, I do think Lawrence will get this done. He does have a significant, reach advantage. But come on, he's from City Kickboxing. They got that crafty kickboxing. I don't know if Sulang can keep up with that, bro. I don't know if he can keep up with that, crazy little kickboxing. So I do think Lawrence will get this done. Shout out New Zealand, bro. Us Kiwis, bro. We're reaching the top of the MMA game. But on to the next one. Kichiro Nakamura versus Sebastian Sizzly, bro. He's a bit sizzly, bro. He's a bit hot out here, man. But who do I think will win? Nakamura has some KO power, man. And he's the considerably bigger guy in the featherweight division. There's not much you can say about Sebastian. Listen, he's Aussie fighting in Aussie. Maybe the home advantage will bring him some luck. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's going to get his ass beat. I think he probably gets KO'd, And, yeah. On to the next one, bro. Man, what are these names? Come on, guys. Like, what? Is this like the goofy name? Olympics, bros? Sang-wook Kim. That's a pretty standard South Korean name, but Dong-ma fan. Dong-ma. Come on, that's like the stupidest name of all time. But anyway, who do I think will win? Well, interestingly enough, guys, Dong-ma Fan has lost to Quinlan Salkild, and you know how I feel about Quinlan Salkild, bro. I'm telling you, best Pakistani MMA fighter ever, and just because he got rear naked choked by him, so I feel like the aura is gonna spread to Doma, even though he has a stupid ass name. And I feel like this aura is just gonna give him the victory. Losing the Quinlan Sal killed aura, it's gonna give him the fucking victory. And through that aura transfer, he's gonna win by decision. You just gotta trust me. Come back to this, after the event happened. I will be right. I will be proven right. Aura transfer by losing is a real MMA phenomenon. I'm the first one ever to discover that. Now we passed all the road to the UFC fights. We're on to an actual UFC fight. Khan Offley versus Yizha. Khan Offley's a pretty interesting guy, I can't lie, guys. What was his last fight? I think the last fight I remember of him was in that UFC Fight Night in Brazil, and it was against Ricardo Ramos, and somehow this guy got it done with the whole Brazilian crowd wanting him dead, and he got it done with the weirdest rear naked choke ever. Like, the Brazilian guy Ricardo Ramos was literally standing up, and this other guy, Khan Offley, was on his back and choked him while standing. And afterwards he did a pretty funny rage bait speech, trying to put a Colby Covington talking shit about Brazil or whatever. He's an interesting character. And listen, if he's gonna win away at Brazil with the whole crowd against him, you know what, he's gonna do it in Aussie, bro. And I think he's kind of a crafty fighter. He's a bit of a trickster. He's got some cards up his sleeve. I reckon he might actually get a submission. I think he ends this fight with a submission against Yizha, And yeah, that's the end of the early prelims. On to the prelims, man, which we're all excited for. UFC 325 prelims. Oh man, I can't wait. Bro. The first fight of the prelims: Jonathan McAuliffe and Oban Elliott, man. Wow, what a fight, guys. Listen, just analyzing these guys' physiques, I don't know. Oban Elliott, I'm pretty sure, is coming off a loss, and I feel like he kind of has stumpy arms. I can't remember too well, but I swear he has stumpy arms. Listen, I'm recording this at 3 in the morning, so there's not much memory going on in me. I'm kind of going crazy. But I feel like McAuliffe, he might have a bit of the reach advantage, the home advantage as well. He's the Aussie fighter. I feel like the home advantage is a real thing, It's going to give him more of a chance to statistically succeed. Therefore, I think he's going to win this fight. Yeah, man. We're all excited for this, right? Crazy Khan, man. Ooh, barn burner, bro. But onto a fight which I think would be pretty interesting. Torres Finney. This guy is actually quite a big middleweight, bro. And he's undefeated. I don't know, he reminds me, he's got that more heavyweight sort of old school boxing black eye physique, if you guys get what I'm trying to say. He's kind of built like James Toney. I swear he's kind of built like James Toney, if you guys know old school boxing, okay? If you're into the boxing stuff, okay? But, listen, I know Jacob Malkoun. This guy's probably Lebanese, right? I mean, it says he's Aussie or whatever, but he looks like a Lebo Aussie, like one of those guys, I do think he probably will be chinned. I do think Finney, I actually think he's a pretty good prospect. He's big for the middleweight division, undefeated. He's strong. Sometimes home advantage isn't enough. And, I think Torres is just going to go out there and he's just going to KO this guy, bro. But yeah, on to the next one. Cam Roston, Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage is fucking shit, guys. What has he done, bro, in the UFC? He's so mediocre. He's one of those fighters you kind of wonder, how he's still in the UFC. I think the only notable thing he's done is lose to fucking Bo Nickel. He's done literally nothing else. He's good at nothing. Absolutely, he's gonna lose. There's no chance he doesn't lose. He's guaranteed to lose. Guaranteed pick to lose. Honestly, man, fuck it. Just give me this Cam roasting guy by submission, bro. You know one thing I fucking hate about these Australia UFC cards, guys, is they always suck, bro. They always suck. They never stacked, bro. What was the last one before the fight night? Was there a fight night before this in the UFC as well? Can't remember. I saw the last UFC Australia card was wasn't it DDP and Sean Strickland too? And that card was fucking shit as well. I don't think the UFC really cares about Australia, man, or New Zealand. You know, this whole region they just don't care about us, guys. But yeah, I do think Cody Brundage gets subbed, man. Cam Roston actually has underrated grappling. I do think he gets it done, and Cody Brundage is just pretty shit. So yeah, on to the next one. Listen, another guy who I don't know how he hasn't been cut. Junior Taffer, bro. What else is there to say about him except that he's fucking shit? This Billy guy, man. If this Billy guy doesn't finish Taffer, he should be cut too, bro. Fuck that guy. Fuck Justin Taffer. I swear he gets that fucking fight cancelled every single time. This fight might even be cancelled as well. He might be too fat to cut down to light heavyweight. He's just a bum, really, who has nothing special going for him. As I said, Billy's got a good, decent ground game, you know, and Junior Taffer just has a non-existent ground defense game. So I do think, you know, he gets subbed. I think Billy subbed his last opponent in the UFC as well, so I do think he can sub Taffer as well. I think this will just be a one-sided grappling domination. And yeah, man, prelims done. On to the main card. Finally, man, we're all excited for this main card. You know what I'm saying? And why are we excited? We're excited for one reason only. The king of Pakistani MMA, Quinlan Salkild, is the first fighter on the main card. But listen, all jokes aside, he actually is a good fucking fighter, bro. This guy's got power in his hands. We just need someone to check his grappling. I'm pretty sure he's gonna run through Jamie Maliki, bro. 100%, not a doubt in my mind. He's gonna run through him. He's gonna make this guy redeem like he did to Anshul Jubilee, you know. But yeah, I actually want to see Salkild push into the top 15 by the end of the year. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I feel like he could do it. But at the same time, I feel like the UFC needs to give him less favorable matchups. Give him some tough guys. I feel like his grappling should be tested. Let's see, you know, if he can hold up with decent grapplers. And if he can, nothing can really stop him from getting into the top 15. He's young. I think he's still 26, and he's entertaining. He's got good personality. I like Quinlan a lot, and I'm excited to see how much he dominates Jamie Maliki, you know. And I do think he's gonna dominate him. I do think it's basically guaranteed, you know. And yeah, on to the next one, bro. Dude, classic fucking heavyweight fight. You guys know how much I fucking hate heavyweight. Like, I'm just staring at this guy's blubber right now, and this guy has even more blubber. The heavyweight division in the UFC might be the worst division out of any sport in the world, because there's no athleticism, there's no technique. They just get two random fucking fat guys and get them to fucking fight in an octagon. It's actually sad, bro. It's horrible. Listen, I know Taliesin Teixeira, somehow he lost to Derek Lewis, but listen, in the heavyweight division, Derek Lewis is always guaranteed to get some random ass wins, like against Volkov, like against fucking Ngannou. So it doesn't necessarily mean he's bad. It's just one of those, you know, statistical anomalies that always happens, right? Like, you get unlucky at heavyweight. It happens, bro, you know? One punch is all it takes, falling in love with Derek Lewis, you know? And I do think Taito Ivasa is still a bum. He's gonna go out like Justin Taffer did against Taliesin Teixeira. He's gonna get his ass beat. What is that, like 6-7 losses in a row? I don't know how Taito Ivasa hasn't been cut. He is absolutely horrible. And the fact that this guy was one fight away from a title shot at one point just proves, like, it just proves how shit the heavyweight division is. I do think he's going to get completely knocked out by Taliesin Teixeira. And honestly, I know Taliesin Teixeira lost to Derek Lewis, but he probably still is a top 5 fighter in the heavyweight division, man. I don't think that's ridiculous to say. His build is just fucking crazy. I have no clue why he isn't playing basketball and actually making decent money in the NBA. Instead he's being a fat heavyweight bum. He is 6'7". I don't know why I made that joke, but he is 6'7". Tai Tuivasa is like not even 6'2". I don't know why I'd say 6'2". He's probably way shorter and way fatter than they say he is. But yeah, give me Taliesin Teixeira by knockout. And just get rid of the heavyweight division. We don't want to see any more heavyweight fights. Please, man. Please, UFC. Please. And on to the next fight. I do think this will be the best fight of the card, guys. Fiziev and Ruffy. Listen, who do I think is going to win right off the bat? I do think Ruffy is going to lose and Fiziev is going to win. Straight up. Will it be close? Yes, I think it will be quite close. Will it be entertaining? Yes, I think it's going to be super entertaining. I think this will be the funnest fight on the card. It's going to be just a good old striking battle, you know? They're going to be going tit for tat, you know, fighting the outside foot, you know, getting some combos in. What do I think about, you know, how much Fiziev is going to win by? As I said, I don't think he's going to win by complete domination, but I still think he's going to put on a clinic. I still think he's going to go out there. Although Ruffy is very skilled, I just don't think Ruffy is top 15 material. He still isn't, and I don't know if he ever will be, you know. His grappling clearly is not that good at all. BSD showed that, you know, pretty clearly. His striking is there, but you know, we got to see how he does against the actual top striker like Fiziev to judge his chances of actually breaking that top 15. I don't know, man. I just don't think he's going to do it. And I think it's unfair for Fiziev to fight someone so down low in the rankings. I want to see Fiziev fight up. We just had Paddy Pimblett fight for the interim bout. I genuinely know for a fact Fiziev would do horrible things to Paddy Pimblett. And you know what? He genuinely would. He genuinely could be a top 5, top 6 fighter in the division. Because in terms of pure striking in the division, Rafael Fiziev is probably top 3 or top 4. Right? There's Holloway, there's him, there's Topuria now. Why am I saying now like it's recent? There's Topuria, and then what? There's Gaethje. So he is a top 5 striker in the division as well. And yeah, man, I do think this is going to be an entertaining clinic from Fiziev. Ruffy might have some moments, but I do have Fiziev by like a 29-28, 30-27 decision. Yeah. On to the next one. Man, this fight is just absolute nightmare fuel. Listen, this is just too quick of a turnaround for Dan Hooker. I know he barely took any damage against Almond, and he got subbed pretty quickly, but when you see a fight like this, it's pretty clear that he's probably just trying to make like some extra cash, because there's no way in hell that anyone in the world, including Dan Hooker, actually thinks that he's gonna win this. There's just no way he thinks he's gonna win this. And yeah, I think he's just trying to get a quick paycheck out of getting his ass beat by BSD, you know. I feel like it's going to be a short beating though. I don't think BSD is going to make it too long. I actually don't know if this is probably a 3-rounder, right? I actually have no clue. But I don't know, it's such a stupid fight from Dan Hooker, because he clearly doesn't give a fuck, right? He's just going to be taken down. BSD might do, you know, a little bit of ground and pound, beat him up. And then he's probably just going to go out there and end up finishing him, subbing him on the ground, right? Dan Hooker's too tough to be put out. We know he's too tough to be put out. And, yeah, BSG's just going to, you know, Benoit St. Denis is just going to go out there and get it done. I know he lost to Moicano, and I still don't understand how this guy lost to Moicano, because he is genuinely a top 6, maybe top 5, top 7 fighter in the division. Benoit Saint Denis is a fucking killer, bro. He is fucking good. He's well rounded. He's got power. You know, I still don't know how Moicano beat him. And you know what? Side note. Benoit Saint Denis would have given Gaethje a way harder fight than fucking Paddy Pimblett. That's another fighter that is better than Paddy Pimblett, who didn't get to fight for the interim because Paddy Pimblett somehow he gave Dana White head, some shit. But yeah, man, I don't want to see Dan Hooker fighting this, but unfortunately he is. I do think that after this fight, near the end of the year, they should book Dan Hooker versus Paddy Pimblett. That would genuinely be a 50-50 fight, low-key. That would be a good fight. Paddy Pimblett is not that good. Dan Hooker is not that good. They both like bottom of the barrel, top 15 fighters. So, that would actually be an exciting fight to book after this. But this fight, however, is not exciting at all. It's just going to be one-sided. And yeah, Benoit Saint Denis by domination. And now, on to the main event of the evening. The fight that no one fucking asked for, man. No one cares about this. This is just a shit repeat of the first fight. Listen. Lopez showed 0 defensive improvements in his fight against Gene Silva, right? 0. Absolutely 0. Still relying on his chin. Still relying on his grit. But in terms of everything else, we didn't see anything new. He just gritted out a war against Gene Silva. But guess what? Against Volk, you're going to struggle to have a war. And before people come and tell me the first fight between them was a war, it wasn't a fucking war whatsoever. Volk was closer to 5-0ing Lopez than he was, to 4-1ing or 3-2ing him. Oh, sorry, than he was to 3-2ing him. You know what I'm saying? Lopez is just not technical enough to get close to beating Volk. And Volk's just gonna fight on the outside like he did in the first fight. And just, piece him up. And listen, in the first fight, Lopez did give him some problems, right? With the power. There were some occasional hiccups for Volk. But let's keep it real. In the second fight, the same thing may happen, and we may see Volk go out. There's like a 10% chance that Lopez might find the right shot. But I think like in the first, although Volk has declined, I do think Lopez, he won't be able to find that crazy one shot on Volk. And Volk's just going to go out there and do what he does. He's just going to 49-46 him again, 50-45 him maybe. And unlike in the first fight, I actually want to see Volk mixing more takedowns in this fight. I feel like if Volk mixes up the wrestling in this fight, it's going to be way easier. And if Volk is smart and plays the path of least resistance to victory, there's no way in hell he loses this fight, I just think this is going to just be, it's just going to be a domination. It is just going to be a domination, 50-45. And yeah, he's just got to be defensively sound and avoid the scrap at all costs. If Volk avoids the scrap, because even Volk has a warrior heart, he's down to scrap sometimes. But if Volk just avoids that, plays the path of least resistance, it's gonna be an easy walk in the park for him. And yeah, man, listen, they already had that first fight. They both have prior experience from that first fight. They know how each other fights. It's just gonna be a repeat. And it may even, I have a hot take, it may be even easier for Volk. He may do it even more surgically, because we know Lopez, technically he's improved on nothing, and he showed that against Gene Silva. He's just going to go out there and try to scrap Volk. He's just going to try to make it entertaining. And because of that, I think Volk, by the way, this all depends on Volk being smart. If Volk goes out there like a idiot, everything I'm going to say is going to go right out the window. But if Volk plays his cards right, mixes it up right, digs into the tool bag and keeps it simple, it's going to be an easy decision for Volk. And it's it will show how shit the UFC matchmaking is. The fact that Lopez got the shot again, even though it's just a stupid repeat with nothing different. It's a headache. It's a headache having to talk about this fight. And low-key, this whole card is shit, including the main event, because we already know, what's gonna happen. It's just gonna be a repeat, you know. And listen, it's not digging on Lopez. I'm not calling Lopez shit by any means necessary, you know. He's still gonna be a future champ for sure. For sure, you know. But even though he will be a future champ, Volk stylistically is just gonna outpiece him. With Volk 3-0's Max Holloway, why wouldn't he 2-0 Diego Lopez? That's the type of question people who think Lopez is gonna win have to ask themselves, you know. And it's just sad because the UFC clearly kind of wants Volk gone. They know Mosva and Lerone Murphy are decision merchants with no power. They want maybe someone to go out there like Lopez, who's also, Mexican and might bring in the Mexican fan base. They want someone like him to go out there and chin Volk so they can have a new star probably. That's probably what the UFC is thinking, but that's not going to happen, and it's disrespectful of them, to do such matchmaking. Disrespectful to Volk, and disrespectful to Lerone Murphy and Mozvar, who just deserve the title shot way more based on merit, And it's annoying because we're starting to see that trend grow in the UFC of fighters just getting a title shot or big fights when they don't have the merit and the accolades to actually get those fights. And I hope this isn't a reoccurring theme, throughout this next year of UFC. I really hope they fucking fix the matchmaking. But yeah, bro, I just think Volk's gonna go out there and just put on a clinic against Lopez, 50-45. I don't think it's gonna be that close. And yeah, this whole card is, listen, beggars can't be choosers. 2 cards, 2 weeks in a row. That's something to be happy about. But at the end of the day, this card is still pretty shit. And yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this predictions video. Please subscribe and like, comment, and give me a big old kiss. Thank you for watching.